Donald Trump, as I'm sure you know, is getting ready to hand Ukraine over to Vladimir Putin. And along the way, he's enlisted all of his top advisors to go in the media and say absolutely insane things. Take a look.
Fair to say, Russia attacked unprovoked.
Fair to say it's a very complicated situation.
Can you acknowledge that Russia is the aggressor here?
You know what? Who would you rather having go toe-to-toe with the likes of Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Xi, or anyone else? Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
It was provoked. It doesn't necessarily mean it was provoked by the Russians. There were all kinds of conversations back then about Ukraine joining NATO. The president has spoken about this. That didn't need to happen.
Look, I understand if you're watching this, and thank you for clicking on a story about foreign policy. I appreciate that. It doesn't happen often. You're a special person for doing that. And Ukraine and the fate of Ukraine is like the most important thing to you. I totally understand that. I still think though, like, the truth should matter. Russia invaded Ukraine. That's what happened. It doesn't matter what happens from here. It doesn't matter what they say. None of that matters. The truth is the same. Russia invaded Ukraine. Like they try to oh my God, oh God, they twist themselves in knots to come up with what counts as a provocation. So the provocation is that Ukraine wanted to enter a defensive alliance. Okay, so why do they want to do that? In case they're invaded by Russia. Why would that be a problem? Only if you're going to invade them. Oh, they're about to do it? Let me invade them? That's not what a provocation is. No, we wanted to invade them. You were gonna do it later, but if I wait, then they're gonna be in that alliance, so I better do it now. It doesn't matter. Rather than doing it later, you're doing it now. If you were never going to invade them, it doesn't matter if they're in the alliance. It's only a problem if it stymies your future conquest plans. And so that's what it is. All of that was insane. All of these guys are just, God knows what they used to believe. I'm sure you go back a year or two, they were saying the exact opposite, but as always, they have bowed down to Donald Trump, knelt at his feet, and they're parroting his insane propaganda. And they just look like such idiot cucks doing it. Steve Witkoff was the last guy in that mashup. So he's asked, okay, so what concessions is Russia gonna make? Because you're saying, thank God we have Donald Trump, okay? Not Biden, you need someone strong. Okay, so show me what the strength has bought us. What is Russia gonna give in? And here's his answer. I think in any peace deal, each side is gonna make concessions, whether it's territorial concessions, whether it's economic concessions. I think there's a whole array of things that happen in a deal and you'll see concessions from both sides. Yeah, but we asked you which ones Russia's making. Well, we already know about the territorial concessions. Ukraine is giving up territory to Russia. Most of it now, all of it soon. What concessions is Russia giving? He's got nothing. You know why he has nothing? Because we're not even talking about what will come for the negotiations. Donald Trump has already given up all of the leverage before the beginning of the negotiations. And he would have you believe, thank God we have this amazing, strong alpha male, and a great diplomat, and he's great at deal making. It does not take an amazing deal maker to surrender. Anyone could surrender. Pete Hegseth could surrender. He could be halfway into a bottle of gin and he could surrender just fine. And so all of this is utterly pathetic. And we know the only thing Donald Trump or any of them care about is this minerals deal. They want to steal $500 billion in rare earth minerals from Ukraine. They're even now threatening to turn off Starlink to basically make it harder for them to defend themselves against Russia. So when on Friday I referred to this as a mob protection racket, I mean, this is as close to it'd be a shame to see something happen to your store that I can imagine in foreign policy. They're acting like gangsters because they're gangsters. And the American people aren't gonna benefit $1 from any of the mineral wealth that's extracted from Ukraine. It's going to Elon Musk, it's going to Donald Trump and their other billionaire buddies. And importantly, JR, on this, again, as with a lot of these other issues, people can see it. I think they know that Donald Trump is insane on this topic, but what do you think?
It's kind of hard, man, because as you said, if you go back to some of the things that have been said, you said the past couple of years, since forever about Russia, because it benefited them to talk about what it is that Vladimir Putin was up to. Because whenever they weren't in power, they had to say, look at what he's doing. He's a madman. And then just let him run all over in their face. But the truth of the matter is, since we keep bringing up Donald Trump's first term, which was disastrous, let's bring up what he did with Putin during his first term in Helsinki. I love the clip. I played every chance that I get when they talked about the confirmed interference with our elections and how our United States intelligence confirmed these things. And as he's standing next to Putin, he put his head down and crossed his arms and looked like a little chump and stood next to him and said, well, he came to me very strongly. And he said, I don't know why it would be, because he said that it wasn't him. And when he says so, I listen. I take his word over the people that are literally the heads of intelligence in the United States of America. So, of course, he's gonna get rid of all them so they can continue to parrot the same things that Vladimir Putin told him to say. That's your champion? These are the strong guys? These are the guys that you're talking about have bigger balls than anybody else? And would you like Sleepy Joe to be dealing with him? Actually, yes, I would, because maybe Sleepy Joe would be too asleep to parrot the same talking points that Vladimir Putin is feeding to him. And then that Donald Trump then feeds to his minions to then say, I'd rather have Vladimir Putin running this country than anyone else. Yes, they said that too. This is the state of our country, the state of the people who listen to what he's feeding them. During the campaign, I said this before, during the campaign, there was a battle over trying to convince people of what it was he was saying and how it would materialize. Now that he's won the election, what are we convincing anyone else of? Now it's a fight for our collective reality. They're gonna continue to challenge what you see in front of your face is not really what it is. When Vladimir Putin tells them to say something and they parrot the same thing and someone confronts them with it, they deflect and change the subject and go, well, I mean, concessions are gonna be given to one side, maybe concessions are not gonna be given to the other side, but concessions are concessions. You know, also concessions is the word you use when you go to a baseball game and you get some popcorn and some hot dogs. They just change the subject because they have no answer and they want to keep your brain moving on to the next thing, because their reality is a bunch of lies. They're parroting Russian talking points. They're working in cahoots and for Vladimir Putin. It's why he said outrageous, off the wall things like Zelenskyy started this war and he's the dictator in this situation.
Yep.
Yo, even the people who listened to this for all these decades looked up and said, wait a second, that's not what we've been saying. I wonder why he's saying that. And right now they're at the beginning of the questioning stage. And eventually, maybe not, they're gonna get to the, I think he's a traitor.
I hope so.
But they can't, because they don't have Trump derangement syndrome, which is for some reason the thing that eliminates everything, every kind of thought process that you can have.
100%. Final point for me. It is amazing that Donald Trump getting into power not only helps America's billionaires get everything they want, but international billionaires too. Even Russian billionaires get everything they want. And also, I'm fairly certain that you called Donald Trump a slut champ in that. That's what's going around in the chat. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.